right. Well, if you haven't gathered around, please come on by, take a little break. And again, I spoke earlier about what is the correlation between craft beer and waterproofing. Well, we'll get to that in a second, but some introductions first. I have with me Dave Kennedy. He's our Director of Training for Noble Company, a licensed general contractor. He's done lots of hands-on experience. He'll help us today. I'm Dean Moylanen. I'm a 20-year vet of Noble Company. I'm their Director of Architectural Services. And what we try to do every year here is we take surveys, we talk to our customers, and we try to find out what is the most helpful information we can provide. Kind of ironic, and here's my correlation between craft beers and waterproofing. I think you'd all agree, if you're a beer drinker or not, that craft beers have sort of taken over the market. These smaller companies making higher quality, more desirable beverages. Well, Noble Company is sort of analogous to that. We are, in some sense, a boutique niche company. We make a handful of very, very high quality products for waterproofing, crack isolation, sound isolation, as well as linear drains. But what we find out is, throughout different parts of the country, I travel every week, you'd be surprised how popular a loose laid shower pan, in spite of all the newfangled ways to do things, loose laid shower pans, you go to many parts of the Midwest, the Northeast, they're still very popular. And we're finding out that with the new generation of installers, tile contractors, sometimes they're not sure the best way to approach a loose laid shower pan system. So we're going to try to go over that right now. One of the components that we came up with years and years and years ago was a simple product called ProSlope. And essentially, instead of you having to use dry pack mortar to configure your slope to drain, we came up with a simple expanded polystyrene foam pre-sloped device. Comes in a variety of sizes, so instead of you having to put down dry pack mortar, you essentially would use ProSlope to create that slope to drain. Now, if you're going to use a shower pan, a loose laid shower pan, I'd recommend the highest quality loose laid shower pan in the industry is Noble Company's CPE chlorinated polyethylene sheet membrane. And what you're going to see is Dave Kennedy is going to real quickly go through how you would use, by the way, our 40 mil product comes in 4, 5, 6 foot lengths, and has been in the industry for, 30, 40 years.
Oh, more.
The warranty is unparalleled. Lifetime of the installation transferable. Lifetime of the installation transferable. So what Dave's going to do real quickly here is drop in the ProSlope, show you how the Chloraloy loose laid product would be attached on top of the ProSlope. Why? Because we're finding out that there's a new generation of contractors out there, installers, who aren't exactly sure how to do a loose laid shower pan system. Yeah. Dave?
So with the ProSlope, very easily installed. All you're going to do is take that ProSlope. You see the lines on here for the sizes. You're just going to cut it to your desired length. If you have a flat and level substrate, you're ready for the ProSlope. Again, it's very simply installed. I'm just going to loose lay it around the standard clamping ring drain.
There's no need to bond down the ProSlope product.
Not at all.
The weight of the installation, the dry pack mortar bed that you're going to put on top of the loose laid sheet membrane is going to hold this entire assembly down.
I've installed my pre-slope. I've saved myself a day in labor and a trip. We're not waiting for the mud to dry with your pre-slope. So from there, I've pre-cut, pre-folded my Chloraloy shower pan. As you can see, the Chloraloy holds a nice tight fold. So once I've pre-cut, pre-folded, I will just simply install that over the clamping ring drain.
Again, no need to bond down a loose laid shower pan. And again, for those of you who aren't familiar with loose laid shower pan concepts, there's CPE, and by the way, we're the only manufacturers of extruded CPE in North America. Everything else is going to be PVC, polyvinyl chloride. By the way, nothing wrong with that product, but on a good, better, best continuum, CPE is a higher performing thermoplastic. Over time, PVC is going to shrink, get brittle. That is not the case with Noble's Chloraloy 240. Because of its the nature of CPE, chlorinated polyethylene, bacterial resistant, fungal resistant. Now, one simple detail that gets overlooked, that is, if you look in your TCNA manual, they're going to call for crushed tile or pea gravel. Gosh, most people don't do that. We make a positive weed protector. It is so simple, elegantly simple, but you clamp it around your drain, and so that protects the weed poles. When you put your dry pack mortar in, those very important weed poles are going to remain open, okay? So simple device, simple tool. If you want to find out where and how to get them, please stop by our booth, booth 3132. Now, a variety of ways to do your curb. We have prefabricated curb overlays that take the place of lath and mortar. Again, in my running around the nation over the last 20 years, we see a lot of failures at the curb assembly. People end up trying to anchor the shower pan. The lath cuts the shower pan. A variety of things don't go right, so a prefabricated assembly like this will help minimize failures. Really important, make sure you use your prefabricated corners. I think we have them over here, and a variety. I'll hand them over to Dave. But I can't tell you how many great shower pan installations I've seen go south because no one put the corners where the door jamb meets the curb. Water runs down the wall, runs down the door jamb. Pretty soon you've got a swelling curb assembly, you've got a failure. Okay. Simple corner installation helps mitigate that.
So we're going to go ahead and move on to our solid flashing.
Now, our newest wrinkle in the program, I'm sure if you've done any kind of bonded membrane system, you've got a clamping ring drain, the membrane, whether it's liquid or sheet, has to make that concave dip. We've come up with a prefabricated solid drain flashing, and Dave's going to explain how this would typically work.
Okay. So normally you would take this solid drain flashing and you would create the divot by using a foam tool. So we've eliminated the foam tool and added the flashing to a solid high compression base. So it's much simpler to install. You don't have to create that divot with the tool. So basically all you're going to do is put modified thin set on the back side of this. You're going to take your standard clamping ring drain, you're going to put sealant on your clamping ring drain, and simply install it into the drain.
And what you're doing here is you're eliminating a step, because with this foam template, typically you'd be dropping this over the bottom part of your clamping ring drain, you'd be mudding around it, waiting for that to cure out, and then putting the drain flashing. We've incorporated the drain flashing into the solid concept. Again, it saves you a step, saves you time, helps to minimize problems in your installation.
So once that flashing is installed, you're going to go ahead and pour your mortar bed. So I have a mortar bed.
The world's fastest mortar bed.
The world's fastest mortar bed. So I poured my mortar bed, it's cured, now I'm ready for my membrane. So I'm going to show the TS membrane. Along the TS, just like the chloralloy, you can pre-fold it, pre-cut it, pre-measure it, and dry fit it. So I know that it fits. I'm going to go ahead and put either modified thin set down or our EXT bonding glue to bond it to the substrate.
It's worth noting over the last 10, 15 years, we've seen a lot of sheet membrane competitors come into the marketplace, and that's good. I believe good competition is good for any company. It ups your game. But having said that, we are the originators of sheet membrane technology for waterproofing. And again, Noble Seal TS, 30 mil, superior crack isolation, superior, when I say superior, there's an anti-standard, A118.12. We meet and exceed high performance. Many of our very worthy competitors don't make that benchmark. When it comes to vapor permeation, migration, this is steam room level of quality. And if you look out there, you're seeing more and more typical details on the wall where the architect, the owner wants a steam room level of quality on their wall membrane. Noble TS provides that.
Once my membrane's in, I'm going to seam up my corners, seam my membrane to my flashing, install my inside and my outside corners, and that'll be ready for flood test after she cures.
Again, you're going to want to use Noble Seal at 150. When you tie your sheet membrane into your clamping ring drain, when you do corners, when you do any kind of penetrations, terminations, this is a marine grade sealant. Essentially, it's liquid rubber. It will never cure out and get totally hard. It'll always be somewhat malleable, but it is a unique sealant in the tile setting industry, and it's a critical part of our successful installation. Again, Noble Bond EXT is used to bond our sheet membranes to the substrate. Now, while we're getting ready for our next part of the presentation, I want to let you know, if you're having trouble sleeping at night, stop by our booth. I've written a variety of riveting articles on waterproofing, exterior deck applications, prefab shower pans and trays, which we're going to get to in a moment. By the way, if you haven't worked with prefabricated trays and pans, please be aware, it's kind of like the Wild West. When I say that, there's no ANSI standards, there's no ISO standards, so how do you vet, how do you identify good, better, best with a prefab pan or tray? One of the things that's out there, and right now there's an ANSI standard in committee where they're trying to figure out a workable standard for all the manufacturers, but in the meantime, what you can look at is the compressive strength of the typical prefabricated tray. Now, the vast majority of trays and pans use 3-pound foam. It may be expanded, it may be extruded, but it's 3-pound foam. And so you take a test like IAPMO PS106, what that does is they get a steel ball, they drop it. They drop it, and if you see these indents, these compressive areas where the steel ball dropped and impacted that surface, that would be considered a failure, okay? Why am I noting that? Because our product has taken that same 3-pound foam, but we put a honeycomb matrix on top of it. So, same ball drop test. Oh, there goes my... As you can see, so if you're trying to vet, gee, what product am I going to use on my project, I will tell you, I have been on failures of prefab trays and pans where the foam indented, compressed to the point that the waterproof assembly failed. You're not going to have that concern with our product. Dave? So
with our base, we've developed a new thin bed drain. Very low profile, about 3/8 in height. As a clamping ring, not a bonded flange like some of the other competitors. Also, you'll see Dean's got that in his hand. You'll see the strainer, very low profile strainer, so you can screw that down and maybe even use an 1/8 tile with that and not have to worry about building or getting that drain a little bit lower. So I've installed the drain. It's PVC or ABS. Installed the drain, it's ready to go. And now I'll take our Pro Base 2 multi-slope kit, again, honeycomb. I'll cut it to the desired size, and I'll use some modified thin set. I'll key it into the foam. I'll put it on our substrate, and then modified thin set that right in place.
I had alluded to earlier was if you have a drain assembly right now, you've got a typical clamping ring drain, which looks a lot like this. Nothing wrong with that. You've got a variety of bonded drain flanges. Nothing wrong with that. However, you might want something a little more robust, a little more durable. So we've come up with a clamping ring drain. If you look very closely, it's on the same plane as the base. So you're not having to pull your sheet down over that concave detail. Also, too, with the advent of a lot of very thin profile, expensive custom floor tile, this has one of the lowest drain profiles you're going to get. So, again, stop by our booth, 3132, take a look at this. It's a new addition as far as your clamping ring drain technology for your assemblies. Dave?
So now that I have my base bonded down, I'm ready to install my membrane. So our value seal membrane, again, will hold a fold. So I pre-cut, pre-folded it, dry fit it, make sure it's ready to go. I've applied my modified thin set to my base and a little bit of upturn on the wall. So just simply then, drop that in. You'll see my upturns. And then I'll bond this in. I'll have some sealant underneath the drain, or on top of the drain underneath the membrane. Take the clamping ring and then install the clamping ring.
Really important detail here. With our prefab trays and our pans and our curbs and our niches and our drains, we have the ability to custom size for you. And I can't tell you how many times in the field, I mean, you can have an architectural detail, a plan, but you get on the field, you may need a 39.5-inch linear drain. You may need a 58-inch linear drain. You may have to have that drain tie-in at the end of the drain body. Guess what? We make these drains ourselves in Spring Lake, Michigan. So if you have a project where you need a specific size linear drain, we can do that. If you need a specific size pro base, whether it's with our clamping ring or a linear drain, we can give you that option as well. So what that does is it eliminates, again, critical time, labor, expense, because it almost becomes modular. You're literally having a prefabricated correct size drain with your prefabricated base that you're installing in a minimal amount of time.
So now I have my base in. I'm ready to go ahead to put my curb and my inside corners in, outside corners, and also then my wall membrane to shingle overlap. So again, I've just kind of pre-folded an outside curb. Install that, just wrap it, shingled overlap onto my upturn. Then from there, I'll go ahead and I'll install my inside corners and my outside corners all the way around. From there, then I'll put the modified thin set on my walls, and I'll cut my wall membrane, and I'll shingle overlap that 2-inch upturn there. I don't have any leading edge that could possibly fail by using a cap strip. Let it set up overnight. It's ready for a flood test.
All right, so we're coming to our conclusion here. Again, let me kind of bring this up again. You know, you've got your choice. You can either go to the store and buy a 32-pack of Bud Light, or you can buy a really high-quality craft beer. You can pick from a variety of sheet membrane, tray, pan, linear drain manufacturers. Nothing wrong with those products. Or you can work with a company who specializes in the highest quality sheet membranes, custom size availabilities for our products as well. We'd love to see you over at our booth, number 3132. Take a look at these products, and thank you for taking the time to meet with us today. Have a great day. Thank you very much.